Do you feel it? The air feels thicker, charged with an unfamiliar pulse. Maybe your dreams have been more vivid, or your thoughts are drifting to distant stars. The Pleiadian High Council has spoken. They say the next 21 days will bring a shift unlike anything we've seen before. I'm Ethan Sinclair, and I've seen what's coming. The solar flash is no longer a distant prophecy. It's already in motion. But what does that mean for us? I'm here to share what I've experienced, what the Council revealed, and why time is unraveling before our eyes. Brace yourself. It started at 3:33 a.m. I jolted awake, drenched in sweat, but the room was silent. Yet, within me, I felt a vibration, a low hum that wasn't just physical. It was like my body had become an antenna, tuned to a frequency that wasn't from this earth. I sat up, and the shadows in my room seemed to shift. Then I saw it. A golden light flooded my vision, illuminating the walls like liquid sunlight. My mind raced, but I couldn't move. My breathing slowed. That's when I heard the voice, not with my ears. It was deeper, resonating within me. Ethan, the solar flash is near. The time of awakening has begun. I didn't question it. Somehow, I knew who they were, the Pleiadian High Council. Their presence was overwhelming but comforting. They weren't just beings, they were knowledge, memory, and truth. And they chose to reveal what was hidden. The walls of my reality peeled away. I saw landscapes of luminous cities, vast oceans of liquid crystal, and skies painted with unfamiliar stars. I wasn't in my room anymore. I was there, wherever there was. The Council spoke of the solar flash, an energy wave pulsing from the heart of our sun, igniting dormant codes within our DNA. It was not a prediction, it was a certainty. They said the countdown had already begun. My body trembled as I absorbed the message. But what shook me most wasn't the vision. It was the feeling that lingered when I returned. A strange knowing, like a memory I had forgotten. The air around me crackled, and I realized I was no longer just Ethan. I was a vessel of their message. Prepare. The shift will not wait. The next morning, I couldn't shake the sensation. The words echoed in my thoughts. Every clock I glanced at seemed to blink back at me with strange patterns. 11:11, 2:22, 4:44, signs, I thought. But signs of what? I tried to go about my day, but the hum inside me grew louder. It wasn't something I could ignore. I knew I had to return to that state, the space where the Council's voice had reached me. That night I sat in silence, dimmed the lights, and simply listened. Ethan, we speak to all who are ready. Their voice was both singular and collective. It was as if thousands of minds spoke in unison. They told me the solar flash was not an explosion. It was a wave of consciousness. Every photon of light carried encoded frequencies that would dismantle the illusions we live within. And within 21 days, this energy would become undeniable. You must remember who you are. The light will expose what is hidden. But why me? I wasn't a guru, a healer, or anyone particularly special. Yet, they said that didn't matter. The shift was universal. Each person would experience it differently, depending on their willingness to see. Some would resist, while others would embrace the awakening. You are not alone, Ethan. The call is reaching many. I was left with more questions than answers. But the strangest thing? I didn't feel afraid. For the first time, I understood what they meant by awakening. It wasn't a distant concept. It was happening. Now. The Pleiadians didn't speak of doom or destruction. They weren't warning us of a catastrophic end. The solar flash, they said, was a pulse of transformation, a phenomenon designed to crack open the rigid layers of perception that bound us. Your sun is alive, Ethan. It is a portal, a mirror of your own awakening. They explained that every solar flash in history marked a shift in consciousness. Ancient civilizations knew this. The pyramids, the stone circles. They weren't mere monuments. They were energetic receivers, aligned with the cosmic cycles of these flashes. The council showed me how the energy would reach us. When the flash arrives, it won't be visible like a fireball. It will move through the ether, penetrating the magnetic field of the Earth and our own bodies. DNA strands that have remained dormant for eons will awaken. Abilities we once believed were mythical, heightened intuition, spontaneous healing, even telepathy, will surface. But only if you allow it. Resistance will manifest as confusion, exhaustion, even fear. Many will cling to the old ways, refusing to believe what they cannot explain. But those who embrace it, those who lean into the unknown, will find clarity. Time will feel nonlinear. Memories will return from lifetimes long forgotten, and most profoundly, the separation we perceive between ourselves and others will dissolve. The council wasn't just delivering knowledge, they were igniting remembrance. They said our sun had long been waiting, and now it would fulfill its role in the Great Awakening. The solar flash is not your end, it is your beginning. After the council's message, I could no longer perceive time the same way. Hours slipped past in an instant, yet moments felt suspended. I saw patterns in the clouds, heard whispers in the wind. It was as if the veil of ordinary existence had thinned. One night, I found myself drawn to the stars. The sky pulsed, and a radiant blue light shimmered above. I felt no fear. Instead, a warmth spread through me, as though the universe itself was acknowledging my presence. Then it happened. I saw flashes of lives, not just mine, but countless others. Ancient cities glowing with crystalline towers, galactic vessels soaring through the dark expanse. I witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, the triumph of wisdom over fear. The council had said our DNA carried memories, and now I understood. Every soul bore the story of creation. You are not bound by one life, Ethan. You are infinite. The vision slowed, but their imprint remained. Time, as I knew it, was a construct, a thread woven to help us navigate this realm. But beyond the veil, there was no linear progression. Past, present, and future coexisted in harmony. I returned to my body, tears streaming down my face, not from sorrow, but from awe. The solar flash wasn't just a cosmic event. It was an invitation to remember. And over the next 21 days, the choice would be ours. Remember who you are. The morning after my visions, I felt an undeniable shift. The air was different, heavier, yet oddly electric. Every sound seemed amplified, like the world was breathing in anticipation. Even the colors appeared more vibrant, as though the earth itself had been infused with light. I could feel it. The solar flash wasn't a distant theory anymore. It was here. The Pleiadian Council had warned that our bodies would sense the changes first. My heartbeat was quicker, not out of fear, but as if it was syncing with something vast and ancient. The shift has begun, the Council whispered once again. Your cells are awakening to the frequencies. But it wasn't just me. People around me grew restless. Some spoke of vivid dreams, strangers in glowing white robes, ancient temples, symbols they couldn't describe. Others described bursts of energy followed by extreme fatigue. The council had said this was natural. The body resists change before it surrenders. I watched as people experienced intense emotions. Old traumas resurfaced, demanding to be healed. Relationships shifted without warning. Some collapsed under the weight of unspoken truths, while others blossomed with newfound depth. Energy cannot be hidden any longer, the council said. What no longer serves will fall away. I realized that the shift wasn't a punishment, it was liberation. But the question lingered. Would we embrace it? Or would we fight to hold on to the familiar, even as it crumbled around us? The next 21 days would determine it all. By the third day, I awoke with an unfamiliar tingling coursing through my body. My skin buzzed, and my hands radiated warmth. It wasn't illness, it was activation. Your DNA remembers, the council spoke. The codes lie dormant until the frequencies awaken them. They explained that within our double helix, strands of crystalline light had been sealed away. Ancient beings knew this. The architects of Atlantis, the Lemurians, even the star travelers who guided humanity in forgotten epochs. But fear and control severed our connection. The Pleiadians said that the solar flash would undo this. I could almost feel it. My thoughts were sharper, memories surfaced that didn't belong to this lifetime. Colors held sound, sound carried form. It was as though the walls of separation had begun to dissolve. You are not simply flesh and bone, Ethan. You are resonance. You are light. I remembered the council's words. Not everyone would recognize this. Fear would cause some to reject the energy. Symptoms would manifest. Dizziness, fatigue, even emotional turbulence. But those who trusted the process would feel rebirth. They said water would help. It carries memory. Sunlight would accelerate the codes. Stillness would allow the frequencies to settle. I followed their guidance, spending time in nature, placing my bare feet on the earth, and each day I could feel the threads of my DNA unraveling, not breaking, but awakening. The light will not force itself upon you, they said, but when you surrender, it will illuminate all that you are. 21 days. That is all it takes for the light to alter your state of being. The council's voice echoed within me. Time itself seemed different now. Days blurred, hours bent. I felt like I was straddling two realities, one where the old world still clung to existence, and another where a shimmering new frequency beckoned. Every moment is a choice, they reminded me. Each thought, each action weaves the timeline you walk upon. The solar flash wasn't a singular moment. It was a gradual descent of light, permeating everything. I noticed how the earth responded. Birds flew in unusual patterns. Trees vibrated with a golden hum. Even animals seemed aware, their eyes reflecting a knowingness beyond words. But the most profound change was within. My dreams became lessons. I saw beings I once dismissed as myth, tall, radiant figures, their eyes like starlight. They didn't speak, yet I understood their guidance. They showed me visions of what could be, not prophecies, but potentials. Ethan, the timelines are merging. The highest path is within your reach. Some people resisted, their fear manifesting as confusion or aggression. Others wept without understanding why, their souls purging the burdens of lifetimes. I too felt the weight, but the council urged me to stand firm. Anchor the light, you are not alone. And so, I waited. I surrendered to the unknown. Each day, the energy intensified, and with every heartbeat I knew transformation wasn't coming. It was already here. The council had said the solar flash would alter everything, but the most profound shift would happen within our minds. Our thoughts, they explained, were no longer confined by the limitations we once believed. They said, the human brain is a receiver, not the source, they said. The solar flash will amplify your connection to the universal field of knowledge. At first, I noticed it in fragments. I could recall conversations from my past with stunning clarity. Answers to questions I hadn't even asked yet drifted effortlessly into my mind. Time felt nonlinear, memories layered over one another like reflections in a pool. You are beginning to think beyond the third dimension. But it wasn't just memory that changed. I could sense the emotions of others, even before they spoke. A stranger's sadness felt like a ripple through my own heart. Joy ignited a warmth that spread through my entire being. The council explained that this was empathy at its highest form, the remembrance that we are all connected. Separation was the illusion, they said. You are now perceiving the fabric of oneness. However, the gift came with responsibility. Thoughts no longer remain private. Every judgment, every resentment echoed through the collective. The solar flash was a magnifier. It would expose the inner world of each soul. Hold your thoughts as sacred, they warned. For what you think, you become. Meditation became essential, not to silence the mind, but to attune it. I spent hours in stillness, aligning with the rhythm of the solar energy, and slowly, I saw the shift within myself. My intuition sharpened, my fears loosened their grip. I understood now. The solar flash wasn't forcing us to change. It was offering us the freedom to remember who we truly were. And as the council's voice echoed one final time, I knew I was ready. The light has arrived. The next 21 days are yours to claim. The Pleiadians never forced their message upon me. They spoke like gentle waves, their words flowing through my thoughts rather than demanding my belief. But the urgency remained. Ethan, the solar flash is not merely an event, it is a choice. You will see it reflected in the hearts of those around you. I saw it immediately. Some people opened themselves to the light, sensing the changes even if they couldn't explain it. Their laughter was louder, their presence more vibrant. But others, they clung to the familiar. They denied the whispers within their souls, fearful of the unknown. Resistance will amplify what is unresolved, the council warned. The body will ache, the mind will spiral, and the spirit will grow restless. I felt the truth of their words. Friends who once seemed steady now appeared agitated, their patience thinning, relationships fractured, not because of anger, but because the energies no longer aligned. The solar flash was like a mirror, exposing what had been hidden. Prepare by letting go, they said. Release the attachments that weigh upon your spirit. That was the hardest part. I held memories of who I once was, the version of myself that sought validation, that feared judgment. But the council showed me that version could no longer walk the path ahead. The light had no room for masks. You are not what you have been, Ethan. You are what you choose to become. Their message wasn't one of fear. It was a reminder that each of us held the power to decide. And in the next 21 days, that choice would become undeniable. You are not alone. The council repeated this often, as though it was the most important truth I could ever hold. And yet, it wasn't just words. I felt it. Every moment, I sensed the presence of others awakening across the world. This is not an individual path, Ethan. It is a collective return. The solar flash wasn't simply a terrestrial shift. The Pleiadians said it would ripple through the entire galactic web. Every star system, every civilization tuned to this moment. I saw them in my visions, beings of light, watchers from distant worlds, waiting in reverence. Humanity's awakening sends waves across the cosmos. But why us? I asked. Why Earth? The council explained that our planet carried a unique vibrational blueprint. It was a convergence point, a cradle of both darkness and light. Our struggle, our triumphs, our resilience, all of it reverberated beyond our skies. You are the catalysts, the ones who choose growth in the face of chaos. And now, as the solar flash neared, I understood my role, not to preach, not to convince, but to stand as a beacon, to embody the frequencies of the new world. Every kind word, every act of courage, every moment of stillness sent light into the collective field. Ethan, when you awaken countless others. My chest swelled with both the weight and the beauty of that truth. This wasn't just my story, it was ours. The solar flash will not decide for you. It will only illuminate the path. The Pleiadians spoke of the split, not a physical divide, but an energetic one. The next 21 days would amplify this separation. Some would rise, aligning with the frequencies of unity and love. Others would cling to fear, strengthening the illusion of separation. Two realities, coexisting, yet worlds apart. I saw it with my own eyes. In crowded streets, I witnessed people's auras shift. Some radiated a golden glow, their hearts open. Others flickered with chaotic energy, weighed down by anger and resistance. The council said both choices were valid. There was no punishment, only experience. Ethan, do not fear for those who choose the shadows. They are not lost, they are learning. But the more I observed, the more I saw the consequences. The path of resistance bred exhaustion. Old wounds surfaced, unresolved. Relationships strained under the pressure of unspoken truths. It was as if the fabric of reality itself rejected what no longer aligned. Yet on the other side, the awakened shined. Time bent for them. Opportunities flowed with ease. Their laughter echoed like ancient songs. And even the earth responded, flowers blooming early, birds gathering in strange patterns. Two timelines, two frequencies. The question is, which one will you walk? The choice wasn't abstract. It was made in each moment, through our thoughts, our words, our actions. And with the solar flash intensifying, the divide would grow. But the council reminded me of one final truth. No path is ever final. The light remains, always waiting to be seen. By the end of the first week, I felt it deeply. The frequencies weren't just external, they pulsed within me. My body tingled with warmth, like currents of electricity flowing through my veins. Your cells are receiving the codes, Ethan. Allow the upgrades to unfold. The Pleiadians explained that the solar flash carried crystalline light. It penetrated every atom, dissolving density and activating dormant strands of DNA. But this awakening wasn't without discomfort. My muscles ached. I experienced waves of dizziness. Even memories I thought I had buried surfaced without warning. Healing is not the absence of pain. It is the courage to witness it. They urged me to move through the discomfort, to see the emotions as energy, not enemies. Each tear, each pang of fear was a release. The frequencies worked like a great wave, washing away all that no longer served me. You cannot carry the past into the light. But alongside the clearing came gifts. I could sense vibrations I never noticed before. The hum of the earth, the rhythm of my heartbeat, the subtle whispers of the trees. I found myself drawn to water, submerging my hands in streams and feeling the crystalline currents flow through me. Food tasted different, sweeter, more alive. Colors appeared richer. Even time seemed to slow, as though the universe wanted me to savor every moment. The council explained that this was the natural state of an awakened being. This is your true frequency, Ethan, the one you were born to embody. And so, I embraced the upgrades. I listened to the ringing in my ears, knowing it was the sound of ancient codes awakening. I moved my body when it ached, knowing each movement freed stagnant energy. I breathed deeply and deliberately, anchoring the light into my cells. The solar flash is not here to harm you. It is here to free you. And with every wave of energy that passed, I felt more of myself returning. By the 10th day, the changes became impossible to ignore. The world around me buzzed with a new energy. People I passed on the street seemed both restless and radiant, as though their souls were awakening to something they couldn't explain. The Pleiadian Council had told me to pay attention. The signs wouldn't be loud or dramatic. They would whisper, subtle at first but undeniable, and now I could see them everywhere. Ethan, your body is the first messenger. Listen to it. My appetite shifted. Some days I craved only fresh fruits and vegetables. Other times, I couldn't bear the thought of food at all. Water became my lifeline. The council said it carried light codes, essential for integrating the solar flash frequencies. I also felt the tingling. It started in my fingertips, then radiated to my chest and crown. It wasn't discomfort. It was like static electricity, a constant reminder that my cells were awakening. The ringing in my ears returned, but now I understood. They weren't symptoms. They were signals. The higher frequencies are reaching you. Allow them. My dreams became more vivid. I saw endless landscapes, ancient temples, glowing blue oceans, crystalline cities that pulsed with energy. Strangers I'd never met spoke to me, their eyes shimmering with recognition. The council said these were glimpses of my soul's memory, returning through the thinning veil. But the most profound sign wasn't in the body or the dreams. It was in my awareness. I could sense the emotions of others before they spoke. I felt bursts of joy ripple through the air and waves of sorrow that weren't my own. The Pleiadians called this the heart's awakening, the restoration of our collective empathy. You are no longer separate, Ethan. The shift has already begun. And I knew they were right. The solar flash wasn't just igniting energy around us. It was reigniting the ancient voice within. The council said intuition was our most valuable guide in this time. Not the intellect, not logic, but the knowing that lived beneath it all. Your intuition is the language of the soul, Ethan. It will speak louder now. And it did. Decisions that once plagued me suddenly felt simple. I knew when to stay, when to move, when to speak, and when to remain silent. It was like a current flowing through my body, one that led without force. I no longer questioned the small nudges. A sudden urge to walk a different path led me to a stranger who spoke words I needed to hear. A feeling of heaviness in certain places revealed where the energy was dense. My intuition showed me how to navigate the world like never before. The rational mind will seek control, the council warned, but control has no place in the rising light. Some days, my intuition warned me of places or people who carried resistance. It wasn't judgment. It was awareness. I learned to trust that pull, knowing it was my energy seeking alignment. I also found that technology behaved strangely around me. Lights flickered, phones glitched, and electronics pulsed without reason. The council explained this was the electromagnetic energy of the solar flash interacting with my field. It wasn't something to fear. It was a sign of my expansion. Ethan, your intuition is now your compass. Let it lead. And as I followed that inner voice, I realized the next 21 days weren't about survival. They were about remembering who I had always been. The light will pass through, but the shift will remain. The Pleiadian Council had never spoken of the solar flash as an ending. There was no fiery destruction, no catastrophic collapse. That was a fear born from the stories we'd been told. But the truth was far more beautiful. Ethan, after the flash, the earth will sing. The energy would stabilize. The heaviness would lift. But the world wouldn't return to what it was. The council said the veil would remain thinner, and those who embraced the shift would see the changes clearly. I saw it too. Trees radiated a golden hue, as though the very air shimmered with light. The animals moved differently, gentler, more aware. Even the earth's pulse seemed louder. But the most profound change was within the people. Some had spent the 21 days resisting, their bodies strained under the weight of what they tried to ignore. Yet others glowed. I saw it in their eyes, a light that hadn't been there before. Fear had loosened its grip, hearts opened, truth flowed. The choice remains, Ethan. The light will not force itself upon anyone. Some would cling to their old beliefs. They would deny what they saw, seeking comfort in the familiar. But others, they would step forward, allowing the frequencies to guide them. The council said this was the birth of the new earth. It will not be built from governments or systems. It will be built from within. I felt no sorrow for those who chose to stay asleep. The council reminded me that every soul was on its own perfect timeline. Some awakened through joy, others through struggle, but none are left behind. Ethan, your role is not to awaken others. It is to embody the light. And so, I stood beneath the sky, the lingering glow of the solar flash still imprinted in the air. The next 21 days had passed, but I knew the shift had only just begun. I could feel it, in my bones, in the air, in the stars above. The world would never be the same. Welcome to the new earth.